The world praises honesty, yet often punishes those who live by it. Strange, isn't it? The man who speaks the truth ends up carrying the heaviest weight, not because he is weak, but because truth itself is a burden that only the strong can bear. We live in a time where deception feels easy, where masks are worn more often than faces, and where convenience often wins over conscience. In such a world, the honest man walks a harder path. He is not celebrated immediately, he is tested. He is not always rewarded in the short run, he is burdened. Why? Because honesty strips away the illusions that protect others. It demands responsibility. It exposes lies. And it forces people, including himself, to confront the raw truth of life. The honest man carries the most burden because truth is heavy. Lies float easily. Deception slips through cracks unnoticed. But truth demands strength, courage, and sacrifice. To be honest means to see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. And that vision is not always pleasant. He carries the weight because others would rather turn away. He carries it because his conscience will not allow him to rest in shadows. And so, honesty becomes both his gift and his cross. But understand this, the burden of the honest man is not a curse. It is the price of freedom. For while lies may seem lighter, they chain the soul. Deception may look easier, but it corrodes the spirit. The honest man may bend under the weight of truth, but he walks upright in dignity. His burden refines him, strengthens him, and sets him apart from the rest. The world may not always see it, but within him is a power unshakable of power born of carrying what others cannot. Think of the honest man in relationships. He refuses to flatter where he does not feel love. He will not promise what he cannot keep. He speaks what is real, even if it risks rejection. This burden is heavy because people often prefer sweet lies over bitter truths. Yet over time, his words are remembered, his integrity trusted. For while others fade with their masks, his authenticity endures. He carries the burden of honesty now, but it becomes the foundation of respect later. In society, the honest man suffers because he refuses to play the games of corruption. He does not take shortcuts that compromise his values. He does not betray his word for profit. He carries the burden of walking a longer, harder road. And yet, this burden preserves his soul. Others may rise faster through deception, but they rise on fragile ground. The honest man may be slow, but his foundation is unshakable. His burden makes him strong where others are weak. There is also the loneliness of honesty. The honest man often finds himself standing apart. Not everyone wants to hear the truth. Not everyone is ready for it. And so he becomes a mirror that many avoid. His burden is the isolation of clarity. But this loneliness is not empty, it is sacred. For in it, he learns to walk with himself, to live without pretense, and to hold fast to his principles, even when no one else does. That is a burden only the courageous can carry. The burden of honesty is not only external, it is also internal. To be honest with others, one must first be honest with oneself. And this is perhaps the heaviest weight of all. To look into the mirror and see every flaw, every weakness, every shadow, and still stand tall. Many escape this by pretending, by lying to themselves. But the honest man cannot. His integrity forces him to confront himself daily. This is not easy. It hurts. It humbles. But it also transforms. For the man who is honest with himself becomes unbreakable in spirit. Why does the honest man carry so much? Because honesty demands responsibility. When he speaks the truth, he cannot hide behind excuses. When he lives with integrity, he cannot blame the world. His burden is accountability. But in that accountability lies true power. He knows that his life is in his hands. He knows that his path is his to walk. And though the weight is heavy, it grants him freedom no liar will ever know. The burden also comes because the honest man is trusted. Others, even those who criticize him, secretly lean on him. His word becomes law, his presence a pillar. People come to him for advice, for strength, for guidance, because deep down they will not deceive them. He carries not only his own struggles, but also the trust of others. And that trust, though heavy, is the greatest mark of respect a man can receive. The honest man also feels more deeply. He cannot numb himself with illusions. He sees pain as it is, injustice as it is, cruelty as it is, he carries the emotional burden of awareness. He does not turn a blind eye. He does not cover wounds with lies. He feels the world more sharply, and that is heavy. Yet it is also what makes him compassionate, empathetic, and real. The burden deepens his humanity. The paradox is this: though the honest man carries the most burden, he is also the freest man alive, for lies demand endless maintenance. Deception requires constant hiding. Masks must be worn and adjusted again and again. The liar may look light, but he is shackled to his own web. The honest man, though heavy with truth, walks unchained. He sleeps with a clear conscience. He rests with peace. His burden may tire his body, but it frees his soul. And here is the ultimate truth: the burden of honesty is not forever. For while the liar's path collapses under its own weight, the honest man's burden transforms into strength. Over time, his words are remembered, his integrity honored, his presence revered. The weight he carried becomes the crown he wears. The honest man may suffer more in the moment, but he triumphs in the end. So, why does the honest man carry the most burden? Because he was chosen to. Because honesty is not for the weak, but for the brave. Because the world needs those willing to carry the weight of truth when everyone else runs from it. If you choose to be honest, know that you will suffer. You will carry more. You will stand apart. But also know this: you will live free, die free, and leave behind a legacy unshaken by time. You do not fear the burden of honesty. Embrace it, for it is the heaviest weight, but also the most noble one. To carry truth is to carry the torch that lights the way for others. And though the road is hard, it is the only road that leads to real strength, real freedom, and real peace. The weight of truth is heavy, but only the strong have the courage to carry it. To live honestly is to choose the harder road when the easy one calls your name. It is to step forward knowing that not everyone will celebrate you. Truth demands sacrifice because it shakes illusions and exposes what others wish to hide. Those who cannot handle it will call you harsh, but in reality, you are brave. To be a vessel of truth means your back must be strong enough for the load. Many turn away, but you stand and face it. That is why honesty feels lonely. It requires uncommon strength. Yet in this heaviness lies freedom. You do not bow to lies. You do not break under deception. You stand tall while others hide. The burden makes you stronger than the rest. It is not weakness to carry truth. It is proof that our spirit is unshakable. The honest man carries weight, but he also carries the light. Lies are light to hold, but they shackle the soul. Honesty is heavy, but it frees you. Deception slips easily from the tongue, but each lie becomes another chain. At first they seem weightless, harmless even, but soon they wrap tighter around the heart. The man of lies spends his life running, hiding, fearing the moment his mask falls. But the honest man, though carrying the burden of truth, walks in freedom. His weight is visible, yet his conscience is clean. He may suffer now, but he is not trapped. His chains are broken because he chose the harder path. Lies feel like wings but lead to cages. Truth feels like stones but builds unshakable walls of strength. One man floats only to fall, the other struggles only to rise. The burden of honesty is heavy on the shoulders but light on the soul. And that lightness is the truest freedom. The honest man suffers in the short run, yet he walks with dignity that lasts forever. People may turn away from him because they cannot face the truth he brings. He may lose opportunities because he refuses to compromise his integrity. His journey may look slower, his rewards delayed. But though the liar wins today, the honest man wins tomorrow. He may be mocked, doubted, or left alone. Yet when the years pass, people return to his words, realizing they were never lies. His pain today becomes his honor tomorrow. For dignity is not built in a moment, it is carved through suffering and resilience. The honest man may bend, but he never breaks. Time reveals his strength. His life becomes a testimony that truth, though hard, always stands when everything else falls. Short-term pain is the seed of long-term greatness, and the man who dares to carry it walks a path of eternal dignity. To speak truth is to risk rejection, but also to earn unshakable respect. The world is quick to embrace sweet lies, for they comfort the ears, But bitter truths strike deep, they awaken, they unsettle. The honest man knows this and still speaks. He risks being disliked, misunderstood, even cast aside. But he chooses honesty because silence would betray his soul. Many may not like him, but they cannot deny his integrity. Respect does not always sound like applause. It often sounds like silence followed by reflection. Even those who reject truth in the moment return to it later. And when they remember the man who dared to speak. The burden is rejection, but the reward is lasting respect. For people may forget the liar's words, but they never forget the truth. And the man who carries it will always be remembered as real. Honesty forces you to walk a harder road, but it gives you a foundation that never crumbles. Lies can build towers quickly, but they are towers of sand. One wave, one wind, and they collapse. The honest man, though slower, builds on stone. His road wins longer, steeper, heavier, but every step secures his foundation. He does not rise overnight, but when he does rise, nothing can bring him down. The burden of the hard road is exhausting. He often looks back at the shortcuts others take. Yet when storms come, he sees them fall while he stands. This is the hidden reward of burden. It builds endurance. It gives strength that shortcuts cannot provide. His foundation may be unseen by others, but it holds him firm. The hard road of honesty never collapses. And though it demands more of him, it gives him a life of unshakable power. The honest man often stands alone, but that loneliness becomes sacred strength. When you walk with truth, the crowd sometimes disappears. People fear honesty because it reflects back what they hide, and so they leave you standing in silence. At first, that silence feels unbearable. The weight of isolation seems heavier than the weight of lies. Yet in that aloneness, something extraordinary happens. You learn to walk with yourself. You find power in solitude. You discover that your strength does not depend on approval. Loneliness becomes your teacher, shaping you into someone unbreakable. The honest man may have fewer companions, but he has truer ones. And in time, his sacred solitude attracts souls who value the same truth. The burden of being alone becomes the blessing of being real. And that reality gives him strength beyond the crowd. To be honest with others, you must first be brutally honest with yourself. This is the heaviest burden of all, for it is easier to lie to yourself than to face your flaws. But the honest man refuses to look away from his own mirror. He acknowledges weakness, admits mistakes, confronts his shadows. That honesty hurts, it humbles, it strips away pride. Yet in that stripping, he becomes strong. Self-deception is a comfort that rots the soul. Self-honesty is a wound that heals it. The burden is pain, but the gift is transformation. The man who faces himself cannot be broken by others. His truth with himself makes him fearless before the world. He does not pretend to be perfect, he is real. And in being real, he finds freedom. The hardest honesty is inward, but it is also the one that sets him free. Honesty demands accountability. Your life becomes your responsibility. The liar hides behind excuses, blaming fate, others, and circumstances. But the honest man cannot escape. His truth demands ownership. Every mistake is his to admit. Every decision is his to face. The burden is heavy, for excuses are easier than accountability. But the honest man refuses the easy road. By accepting responsibility, he accepts power. He understands that while accountability is weight, it is also freedom. For if his life is his to own, it is also his to shape. His shoulders carry the burden, but his heart carries no regret. He walks upright, knowing his failures and victories are his alone. Accountability is never light, but it is the path of the strong. And the honest man carries it because he knows real freedom comes only when you stop running from responsibility. The world leans on the honest man because his word is unbreakable. People may argue with him, avoid him, or even resist him, yet when they need truth, they come to him. His voice becomes a pillar in a world of uncertainty. His promise means more than 1,000 lies spoken by others. This is his burden, to be the one others depend on. It weighs heavy to always stand firm when others falter. Yet it is also his honor. Trust is the rarest currency in the world, and the honest man holds it. He becomes the anchor for those adrift. The burden of trust is not easy, for it demands consistency. But it is also the reason his presence matters. He may carry more than his own weight, But in doing so, he proves himself worthy of the title trustworthy. He feels the pain of reality more deeply, but that pain makes him compassionate. The liar numbs himself with illusions. He hides suffering behind false smiles, but the honest man cannot. He sees pain for what it is. He feels injustice when others ignore it. He acknowledges cruelty where others close their eyes. This awareness is a burden because it pierces his heart, yet it also softens him, making him empathetic. His compassion grows not because life is kind, but because he refuses to pretend it isn't cruel. The honest man suffers more in awareness, but he also loves more deeply. His truth connects him to the struggles of others. His pain becomes a bridge to understanding. Though heavy, this burden is what makes his humanity extraordinary. Lies may ease the moment, but they chain you to endless maintenance. One lie demands another. One mask demands another mask. Soon the liar becomes trapped in a web he cannot escape. He looks free, but he is bound. He smiles, but he fears exposure. His every word is a cover-up, his every step a performance. But the honest man, though carrying the immediate burden of truth, carries no chains. He may stumble, but he does not have to hide. He may face rejection, but he does not live in fear of discovery. Lies are easy today, but impossible tomorrow. Honesty is hard today, but liberating forever. The burden is real, but it ends in freedom. The liar's ease is an illusion that becomes slavery. The honest man's burden is a truth that becomes freedom. The honest man sleeps in peace, while the liar hides in restlessness. Conscience is the heaviest bedfellow of all. The liar tosses and turns, fearing the collapse of his facade. His rest is shallow, haunted by exposure. But the honest man, though weary from carrying his burden, rests deeply. His conscience is clear. His sleep is honest like his life. He carries weight during the day, but he lays it down at night, knowing he betrayed no one, not even himself. Peace is priceless, and only the honest can afford it. This is the hidden reward of burden rest. Though his days are hard, his nights are gentle. He may not live easiest, but he lives truest. And in the end, that is the only peace that matters. The burden of honesty today becomes the crown of integrity tomorrow. At first, the weight seems crushing. The honest man bends while liars dance freely. But time changes everything. The lies unravel, the masks fall, the towers built on deception collapse. And then the honest man, though weary, still stands. What was once a burden becomes a badge of honor. His integrity shines when the false fade away. People return to him, remembering that his words never failed them. His weight becomes his strength. His suffering becomes his glory. Integrity is a crown forged by burden, and only those who carried the heaviest truths are worthy of wearing it. To carry truth is to carry a torch that lights the way for others. The burden is not just personal, it is generational. When one man dares to be honest, he makes a path for others. His truth becomes a guide in darkness. His courage inspires those too afraid to speak. The torch is heavy, yes, but it prevents many from stumbling in lies. The honest man's burden is never wasted. It illuminates more than just his own road. He may never see how many lives his light saves, but it does. Carrying truth is carrying responsibility for the world. It is the hardest task, but also the most noble. For in lifting the torch of honesty, he ensures that others are not lost in shadows.